I'm inside and I saw Velma. It is produced by Charlie Grandy. My previous exposure was I first heard about this with, whoa, where's Scooby-Doo? I don't know where Scooby-Doo went. Where's the guy? And so I had to investigate the mystery, why there's no Scooby-Doo in the new Velma. When there are more episodes of Velma, I will definitely cover them. So if you haven't seen these episodes, I will spoil it for you. This first episode starts, it's called Velma. Velma is just Velma-ing around. I really like the part where we see, oh, there's a locker room and there's a bunch of nudity. I only like that part because the amount that is covered, like the cleverness of the amount that is covered. You got hair covering the boobies. Also you have soap. I'm like, okay, cool. Immediately opens up with, man, don't you like it when the pilot of some episodes of television, they start with a amount of sexual gratuity and it's never persisted out the rest of the season or the rest of the series? Don't you guys just hate that? And they're like, yeah! And there's somebody like, oh no, this will be incredibly sexual. So that is a direct, hey, audience, you like sex? Here you go, there's gonna be lots of it. Okay, also, Velma, obviously Velma, she's wearing a hood right now. She's like, I'm gonna get you. You guys are bullying me, Velma's the weird one, as you might think. Of course, Daphne and Velma have some sort of feud going on, and it seems to be fueled by the fact that Daphne ditched Velma to be hanging out with some cool kids. And I'm like, Daphne, your brain is going to die after your high school. Okay, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness gracious, no longer is the thing a popularity contest between my social group. I have to go get a job and not be cliquey and bratty. Also, there's a lot of swearing. There's a lot of female dog swearing, which is fun. I definitely wasn't expecting the amount of swearing and the amount of sexual gratuity. What's the word? Dave, what's the word here? What am I thinking of? There's so much sex happening. And it seems to be very obvious who the target demographic is. Tumblr girls. Wanna know why I think that? Okay, Velma, she's like, it's only rich white men. They're destroying the entire country. And it's like whole political stuff just forced into Scooby-Doo. And I'm like, dude, stop it. I don't care, okay? Oh, Fred is racist against Velma because Fred thinks Velma is Mexican or something. And, oh my goodness. Velma, the show slash the person slash the character, all three of y'all, why? Why must you make this? I could just imagine the amount of GIFs and pictures on Tumblr right now. You wanna know why? Because in middle school, I used to be on Tumblr all the time. I totally get the archetype. It's contagious once you're on Tumblr, because all of it is just like a small bubble. And then you guys are just talking to each other on Tumblr. Like, don't you know that the wage gap exists? Oh yeah, I'm so oppressed. I'm so oppressed even though I'm a white woman who has so much money for therapy. I'm so oppressed. I'm so more oppressed than like a poor person with no house. I'm so much more oppressed. I'm like, this is the target audience for the show. I'm not the target audience. So watching this, I was just sighing at the amount of, Daphne, I don't care about your politics, okay? Velma is in the locker room and she's getting framed for murder because there's this body with no brain. Why would there be a body with no brain? That's the mystery to solve. But Velma has hallucinations. In the right hand, it's like, you're gonna solve the mystery? No! And I'm like, wow. She needs to get on some medication or maybe perhaps some drugs. That's the next episode, by the way. For some reason, Velma is being framed. All two cops are like, oh yeah, we're bad at our jobs. We're gonna leave you 24 hours to find out who's the murderer or else we're going to arrest you. I'm like, is this justice? What is this? Also, these cops suck. As in, they're the worst cops ever. They're hilariously bad. They're like, oh my goodness, there's some sheet cake we can go get instead of investigating a crime. And I'm like, you guys are so fat. Man, I'm surprised at how slim your figure is in the show. Wow, Velma, you're gonna be so traumatized about the amount of hallucinations that you have. Why do you have hallucinations? And I'm like thinking, this is interesting. Why? But then, oh no, I know why she has hallucinations. It's because her mother abandoned them. Hey, Velma and I share the same backstory. My literally me character now. Awesome. But Velma is like, oh my goodness, I'm so distraught. My mother left me because it was all my fault because I wanted to solve a mystery. I'm like, no, that's clearly not obviously what happened. You psychotic female dog, you woman, come on, that's clearly not what happened. She clearly didn't care enough. She clearly just like walked away. Don't care about her. She's not in your life, no. You don't have to worry about it. She's like, oh, I'm no longer guilty. And then she's about to solve a mystery yet again. And then she's like, oh, I have another hallucination. We gotta figure out the problem with the hallucination. Why do I have hallucinations? I'm just thinking, Velma, you are not fun. I feel like you're a weirdo because you want to stay away from people, not let them get close. You're so judgmental, Velma. Why do you gotta be so judgmental? Also, I really like the fact that, oh my goodness, did you know that Velma is a lesbian? That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not fine with how they disclose it though. The way that the show introduces Velma as a lesbian is Velma's like, yeah, I know, I like girls. And I'm like, dude, your dialogue is forced. I should really mention all the exposition dialogue is so forced. It's just like hand over fist. It's like hand over fist. Like, I know what's happening. Yeah, I know. You're cheaply setting up some sort of plot so, two characters just talk to each other instead of, I don't know, introducing that Velma has a crush on Daphne. You could do that, but instead you guys are introducing that there's a rivalry, the rivals. You could have introduced at any point that Velma is like really into Daphne. Dude, instead of being like, oh yeah, I'm gay, so bigotry, no good. Or something like that. I don't care enough about the show to really quote it. I just care enough to really hate on it, which is my favorite type of watching experience. It's really hating on things. Oh man, this show is so fun to watch. There's also Shaggy, Norville. Has this food live stream that a bunch of stoners watch all the time. And what's interesting about his character is while him and Velma are driving in the car, he's like, I don't do drugs are bad. And then there's a blink and a silence, and I'm like, wait, is there a setup here? Is this supposed to be like an ironic thing? But then later in the episode, he's shown to have like, 420, drugs equal bad on like his screen, like the Mary Jane is no good on his screen. I'm like, okay, that's the second time. And then the third time, we see, Velma's thinking, might actually be Fred who did this. So Velma's at Fred's house and Norville is the getaway driver. And then the cops come. And I'm like, you know what would make this awesome? If Norville got arrested for having like a pound of the Mary Jane on him, that would be some sweet comedic justice. But no, you know what happens instead? The cops come and help Velma instead of arresting Norville. That's the obvious comedic answer. Why? Why did you just not choose to follow the rule of threes? Come on, why did you not? So Fred's being really creepy. He's like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna do what I did to Brenda. And then he gets arrested by the cops, but he's gonna pay off Velma because he's insecure about his boyhood. Also, Daphne sucks. Daphne's like, yeah, I'm just gonna share some personal details about Fred, who's my boyfriend, to somebody that I don't like. Velma. And I'm like, why? Do you hate Fred, Daphne? Oh my goodness. But yeah, Fred gets taken into custody. And you know, Velma is Velma-ing about until BAM! There's another headless and a brainless body in the trash. And Velma's like, what happened to it? So that was the end of episode 1. It was such an experience. Man, I really want to hear what you think of the first episode. If you have seen it, please let me know what you think. I really want to hear what you guys think, because I am impassioned to talk about Velma. Oh my goodness, I have so much rage towards, especially towards the second episode. Not nearly as much as the first episode. The first episode was so hand over fist. Like, yes, I get it. Yes, I get it. You don't like white people and you really love lesbians. I totally get it, show. Okay, I don't care. Please, just stop talking about it and have an actual plot that isn't, the dialogue isn't just like some political nonsense. I don't care. I just want some actual plot. Also, it's interesting. The show is no longer like, oh, it's one and done per episode. It's episodic. It goes from one episode to the next episode. It's like a series. It's interesting. It's not like the original Scooby-Doo. So if you are interested in watching this, keep that in mind. So the second episode is The Candy Woman. Well, woe is in parentheses, which is such an interesting choice. You can tell that who created it was the women. The women created this show. So of course they have to really exaggerate. Whoa, man, whoa. I really don't understand why they chose to do that, but who cares? The episode starts with Velma's like, oh, well, if Fred didn't do it, how am I gonna live? How am I gonna, you know, the murderer is still out there. It's time for me to solve a case, solve a mystery. Oh man, I totally forgot to mention the most devastating part from last episode. Norville is like, hey, I like you. I really, really like you. He has a romantic attraction to you, Velma. And Velma just dismisses it like, yeah, that's the most funniest joke ever. Ha, 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 ha. Oh my goodness, Norville, you're so, And like, dude, chill out, Velma. You are the worst person in this series. You're the most judgmental one. And you're like, oh, everyone else actually sucks. It's like, no, Velma, you suck. You're the worst person here. I hope you get confronted with how much you suck later this episode. Foreshadowing! Velma is trying to prove that actually Fred wasn't the one who did the murder, death, killing. Fred is way too young. He's way too innocent to be a killer. Velma's father is a lawyer. The lawyer needs help making sure that Fred is innocent. Hey, could you talk about the thing? Could you talk about how Fred is innocent? And I'm like, hey, okay, I guess. I don't know how the legal system works. Is this legal? Does anyone who's animating care about the legal system? Animating, show director, anyone involved? Do they care about do they care about the legal system at all? Well, actually, you gotta prove that Fred's a child. So Fred gets dolled up. He's looking like a child. But then you know what happens? Well, it turns out it's raining and his eyelashes get on his nose. And wow, it's a Hitler joke. Fred is Hitler? Oh, who could have seen that coming? That totally wasn't predictable at all. Sarcasm. We also get to learn that whenever Velma is having the hallucinations, that it is best for Velma to be talking to somebody while it's happening. And of course, Velma is like, I'm gonna solve a mystery, and sometimes has a hallucination and is like, oh, I gotta talk to somebody about it. Man, the second episode, what's interesting is that Velma wants to uncover the mystery of her mother's disappearance. And I'm like, man, just accept the fact that she didn't care. But I guess Velma's like, well, she did love me, so why did she leave? Which is also an interesting mystery to set up throughout the rest of the series. I'm a little bit curious. Velma is like, wow, I need money, because Daphne is like, I'm gonna have you give me money for the case file. And of course, Velma's like, fine, okay, whatever. I'm like, okay, we're in an episode where whatever Velma is trying to do, she's going to do it poorly because she doesn't know how to make money. And guess what happens? That is exactly what happens. She's so judgmental towards the drug people that she sells to. She's selling drugs, by the way. Daphne is a drug dealer. That is canon in this universe. And it's honestly hilarious because it's like, I didn't expect it. The second episode gets a little bit better, especially Fred's portrayal, because it's like, I'm not a child, clean me, It's like a direct opposite to what he's saying, which I find to be hilarious. However, Velma is trying to sell drugs and does it poorly. Daphne's like, you know what, I feel bad after you were like impassioned about finding your mother. I'm gonna give you the case files. Oh no, you're having a hallucination? Oh no, how can I fix it? Immediately, 30 seconds before the actual thing that occurred happened, I was like, I'm gonna guess it, they're gonna kiss. And guess what happens? Oh, I'm Daphne, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna... And then they kiss, and then they make out. And it's like, okay, cool, at least this is fun. This is the most fun part of the show, is the fact that Velma and Daphne are gay. So that was the end of the second episode. The dialogue felt very forced in the first episode. I totally forgot that I didn't give a rating to either of these episodes. But the first episode, I would like to give a solid 4. It's okay. The animation quality is pretty good. Except for when it's not. There's only a few scenes where it's like very quickly like, oh, they clearly had some sort of sloppy artist here. But then it cuts away to a really good clean shot of the animation. I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine, I guess. I'm a big fan of the animation. I like the vibrant colors. I don't like the forced liberal stuff. And I'm not political at all. So if you tell me anything about politics, I don't want to hear it. I don't care. Okay, so it's just the fact that this is so stuffed with like, oh, the political agenda, ooh, put in there. It's like, this is so obviously for Tumblr, teenage girls. Oh, I know the demographic. They're gonna eat all of this up. I'm really glad that the second episode, when we see 3 times, looks like Daphne and Velma are bumping into each other and getting awfully close. They're gonna tumble on top of each other. And then the third one was the kiss, and I'm like, hey, at least they did 3s this time. Also, Norville is like, I don't do drugs. Drugs are bad still. I'm like, dude, when is this bit going to end? This has to be a bit. I cannot accept the fact that whoever is running the show, Charlie Grangley. Why? Why'd you do this? Come on. But anyway, I do enjoy the cell shading and the designs. That's fun. I like the designs a lot. I think the artwork looks pretty clean. Just the subject material boggles my brain. I keep saying it because it does. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the character progression between the first and second episode is more than like a regular Scooby-Doo episode, but the character progression is like, romantic. It's I'm kind of intrigued just because I'm forcing myself to watch this show. I am not the target audience, and if you don't like forced political stuff in your media, I would not recommend this show to you. There's no Scooby-Doo, okay? They don't even address it at any point. Man, Daphne and Velma used to be BFFs, so they knew each other when they're younger. Just, they're in high school together. At least there's some added backstory, but it's okay. The second episode is just a little bit better, just cause, you know, at least they did the setup and the execution of the kiss properly. At least they set up the rule 3s, okay? Whoever wrote this episode was probably on some drugs, which is good. Unfortunately, Norville is not a drug guy, and I feel like he would be, which is funny that he's not. So the second episode, I gotta give like a 4.5. If you like this review, please tell me how I could do better in the comments below. Or you can like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. The ultimate goal of this channel is for me to become an expert movie reviewer. So if I haven't reviewed it on the channel, there's a chance I haven't even seen it at all. If you'd like to request a movie in the comments below, you can do that, or you can fast track a movie review request at patreon.com/ASCpresents for $20 a month for one movie review per 1 month. Or $3 a month for access to the 250 ASC Daily vlogs on there, plus early access to the How to Draw Pokemon Pokedex stuff, 151 for 2023. It will be posted there early, patreon.com/ASCpresents. And if you'd like to help support the daily grindiness, you can go to this link tree. It really helps the daily grind of all these daily movie reviews. So go here, and until next time, I'm Mint Salad Sauce. See you later, my salad croutons and bacon bits.